everybody, my name is Leora. Welcome back to my channel, Diamonds from the Rough. And today I'm participating in a thrift flip challenge called Goodwill Hunting. This challenge is hosted by the Lifestyles of the DIYer and the Flippin' Bunch. The purpose of this challenge is to go to a thrift shop and spend no more than $25 on 3 items and then redo them for the challenge. Now, we don't have to actually use $25 as the max total of all we put on the new items. You can use whatever you have around. I happen to have a lot around. No, I am not going to paint this suitcase. This is a purchase that I needed for something personal, and it's part of my big announcement coming up soon. If you know, please do not say, but if you have a guess, why do I need another big suitcase? Feel free to drop that in the comments. Now, let's get to the part where I'm actually going to do something. These are, of course, knockoff Doc Martens. They're not the real thing, but I did try them on and they fit perfectly and they're comfortable, and I have an inspiration photo I want to try and mimic. What did I pay for these? $7.99. Not too bad. This one I actually put back and then I came back for it because I really like the fact that it has these cool metal bands around the edge. And I also really liked the fact that it feels like it's actually wood, and it already has this whitewash on it. And that was a look that I wanted for the background for the idea I have. When I saw this on here, I knew no one had ever even used it, which is kind of a shame. Hand-carved wood tray made in India. $9.99. We're at $18 plus all this other stuff that has nothing to do with anything. That means I had to go into my stash and find something else that I had that still has a tag on it so I would know how much I spent on it, because I kind of shop a lot at Goodwill. I went through my stash of what I had readily available right outside the art room door. Thought it was $2.99 when I first picked it up, but it's $12.99, so that's out of the budget. Speaking of out of the budget, this lamp. Look at the texture on this. It's got a nice plain shade I'm gonna be able to do so much with, but this, that raised texture. This one, not the cat, she's not for sale. This one was $19.99. It included the shade, but still, out of the budget. Then there's this. This is kind of like a perennial Halloween decoration that I use because it just looks kind of gothic. And I guess I could put anything in there, like a fake plant probably. But it is $2.99. So that's a good contender. Not bad. And then this. Again, I love the shape, but I don't know what they did to this. I mean, I'm sure this is somebody's style, but it's not mine. It's a candle holder. And the price on this guy was $5.99. Also, just a wee bit over the budget. This was the only other thing that was in my budget until I found this. A mirror. Gotta love these. Only $3.99. It was made of plastic, and someone had tried to chalk paint it. I used a razor blade to remove the paint, and it came off in chunks. I removed the back with my electric screwdriver, and then use that same razor blade to scrape off the paint that had gotten onto the actual mirror. When everything was taken apart and cleaned, I added a trim detail. This is a material that's similar to a wood you bend, except it's made out of some kind of flexible rubber. Glue wasn't strong enough, so I used a brad nailer. I chose this beautiful Wise Owl paint in the color Rosewood. I selected a paper that I thought would go really well with this size of this mirror, which was a steampunk cat, and I laid him down on the glass directly with some epoxy and then painted over him. I also added some raised stenciling, some bits of transfer and other epoxy molds, and then I also threw in a couple of 3-dimensional items like cogs, keys, and that dragonfly. For project number 2, my boots. These are obviously from Goodwill, so no matter what you get from there, even if it's new with tags, you want to wash it. So I am going to give this a spray down. They are made of, well, it says it's Sintetico. Give it a spray down with my TSP cleaner diluted in water, and then rinse it with some plain water. And then we can get started on actually getting these things decorated to look like my inspiration photo. I'm going to use a bonding primer on this because I don't know what synthetico material it is, but it's probably not going to adhere to paint very well, would be my guess. I want to use this Fusion mineral paint in the color Chesler. It's like teal on steroids. So since I'm using Fusion, I'm going to use their Ultra Grip. This is the primer that I'm going to put on here to make sure that my paint sticks to these boots. This one's already been drying for a little bit, so let's try a second coat. You can see that obviously there's still some white showing through. Normally I would sand this in between coats, but I am not going to. Mostly because I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I want this to be a quick project. That actually looks better than I expected. I don't know why I'm surprised. I should have more faith. Now everything has got a second coat. I can tell that the zipper's still a little bit white, but that's okay. It's going to be pretty unnoticeable. I'm using an adhesive transfer. This is different than a regular transfer because it is actually glue. So what you see that's yellow there is glue that I can attach a surface to, like, well, I'll show you what it's going to stick to. But these are so much easier to work with than regular transfers. They come right off the plastic with pretty minimal rubbing. You see I can just release it right away. And now, here's the magic. Just wait for this. These are metallic flakes. These are by Redesign with Prima. It's just beautiful colors. This one's called Venice. And these are little pieces of flake. So just like you have gold leaf or silver leaf, this is all different colors of flakes of leaf. And it's all mixed together. And what I like about this is I am just picking out the colors that I want and placing them where I want. And then I'm using this brush to sort of make sure every single bit of yellow is covered. I don't like to waste anything, and yeah, I didn't get a whole lot back in the container, but I tried because I try to conserve. Next, with that same firm bristle brush, I'm scrubbing the leaf into the glue, and I'm rubbing pretty hard with the brush, and I'm actually kind of like trying to pick it up so that it only sticks to where the glue is, and now you can see the pattern. Once I have it firmly on the adhesive, I'm just using a very light bristle brush. This is like a makeup brush, and I'm getting rid of all the excess. And the final image emerges nice and crisp and clear. And that is all the colors that's in my inspiration photo, and I love it. Brief intermission to try out my Super Shifter Moody's. These are my waxes that I just got, and they are gorgeous colors. This is a thrifted purse that I've had for years, and I've never done anything with it. So it was my practice piece to see how the colors blended together before I move on to my project for this challenge. And now I'm going to carry this purse because it's beautiful. For this part, I want to use the silk screen stencils. These are little mandalas, and of course the best way to make anything work on a shoe is to have a foot inside it. It's just too hollow otherwise. I'm using a wax brush with those super shifters and just blending it together right through the stencil and trying not to move it until the peel, and voila! On the back, I'm using a different pattern, and these are supposed to be reusable up to 8 to 10 times. There's a light adhesive on the back, but it's just not very sticky, even brand new. It does work at least 3 or 4 times in my experience, but to be honest, I kind of like Mylar stencils like this one a lot better. These can be reused basically forever. Last but not least, any kind of wax, if you get it in the wrong place, it can be removed by using the same thing, like removes like. So I got rid of the excess with some clear wax. Almost done. On to our third project. I really like this whitewashed weathered wood look. And in my first thought, it was going to be kind of like a bohemian, just a really pretty design like this. So I love mandalas. Unfortunately, it's too big. We're going to go on to plan B. Kind of actually plan B, C, Q, L, and R, because I'm going to use a lot of different things. I think that it would look really good if I just silk screened the outside with these little mandalas and just make it a border. I think that would look really cool. My inspiration for this piece is Made by Marley. So Lel at Made by Marley, her maximalist designs are insane. And it's always, while I'm watching her, I'm thinking, that looks really good. You should stop. Oh wait, she added more. That looks really good. Now you stop. Oh wait, there's another layer and another layer and another layer. It just keeps going. And you think there's no possible way she could put another thing on it, but she does, and it looks good. So maximalist is a style that I am not well versed in, but I think it's cool and I would love to give it a go. So I'm going to try it on something small. 2 8.5 by 11 sheets. But this is like a metallic-y reflective gold, both of them. And I thought that might be kind of a cool background. These water transfers, but the florals are now, they're out of my head. I don't want that on here. Whoa, that was weird. Something just literally fell off the wall. Nobody's touching it. I think there's a ghost in here. That was crazy. Let me show you what just happened. Tell me how this happens and nobody's in the room but me and nobody touched it. Here's what was hanging on a hook on my pegboard. In there where it clicks in, what? That doesn't just come off. It literally just went and fell off. You see how hard I had to pull. Fell off by itself. Okay, sorry, whoever's in here, if I offended you. Hopefully you're into art. I'm gonna paint some pretty things. Be cool, bro, be cool. I'm gonna light some incense. 1 second. Okay. I've cleansed my workspace. I feel better. It's time to embrace this maximalist thing that I'm gonna try. It does not have to be perfect. That's the best thing about this maximalist style that I've been watching the Made by Marley videos. Every project she does, I am just always flabbergasted. I know I just talked her up a minute ago, but I'm going to do it again. What I have been learning from her and from her approach is that perfection is not the goal, which I've never really thought that perfection is the goal of art, because I think the more perfect it is, the less interesting it is. But this style of maximalism, I think, really emboldens you to try new things and to not be disheartened, because you don't have to have it turn out any certain way. It doesn't have to be, if these points are off by a millimeter, the whole thing's gonna look weird. You're gonna be doing so many layers of flavor, so to speak, that you're not going to see those little teeny tiny imperfections anywhere. And honestly, the more quirky your end design is, the more your eye is just like drawn in and fascinated. So yeah, I had a plan of these like matching up right to the point, and now there's a space in between. And you know what? I think it looks cooler and more interesting than it had it been touching, which is what I thought I was gonna get. Take that to heart. Maximalism can give you the permission that you might need to make mistakes, and those mistakes are perfect, so to speak. That took longer than I care to admit, but there were a lot of little tiny lines that I had to make sure were stuck down. I just had to change a plan on the fly. Just like I did on my boots, I am using those silk screen stencils, and this time I'm just using an acrylic paint versus a chalk or mineral paint. It does look like it's a little bit thicker, but it is not going to be a raised stencil once it's done. It will dry flat. We've got a situation here. Look how crisp and beautiful those are. Now let that dream die because I don't trust that I'm going to get that clean of a image again. I did not wait. I went and washed my stencil right away, but I still see there is ink trapped in the netting. And that's just the way it's going to be. It's not going to be as crisp as I see this other side was, but we're going to work with it anyway. Let's see what happens. Not as crisp, but still pretty damn good. For this edge here, a little edge banding. These are different waxes than what I used on the boots. On the boots, I was using the Super Shifter waxes. And on this, I want to use my Art Alchemy waxes. It's a metallic wax. I know that's going to be an opaque, fully opaque color, and it's called Peacock. Then you've got Opal Magic. Opal Magic is not going to be as opaque. It's going to be more of a iridescent shimmer. Let me just show you what this looks like. So it is iridescent sheen. I don't know if you can tell. But see, my skin is white. It's white. Okay, the handle of this, that's black. There. See what I mean? It's meant to go over a dark color. So this one, Midnight, I've never opened yet. So you take the cap off. It's got a little seal. The cap has that sharp point. So you just pierce the foil with that. And now your tip is the color of the wax. So you're going to be able to tell, hey, what color was that without opening it. And then lift it up. I mean, come on, how cute is this? I want to bring in raised stenciling. This is chalk paste. So you see it's not liquidy at all. It is just an absolute paste, just like it's described. I'll arrange my colors in a way that pleases me. Now this one is pretty incredibly detailed, and I don't want it to move even a smidge, so I am going to tape this one down. Most of this I'm being pretty free and easy, but this part I really want to look nice. This is a 3-dimensional paste. And when I'm done applying it, it's not going to shrink down. It's going to stay 3-dimensional. So I'm mix and matching product. I'm mix and matching thickness. This one's way more pasty than this purple one is, but I think the important thing here is blending the colors. With paint, I wouldn't push this hard, but because this is paste, it needs to get through the stencil. Obviously paint, you could end up pushing it underneath the stencil easier since it's liquid, but this is a loose solid. Oh, look at that. Oh, wow, just wow. And you see the texture in that. You see how it sticks up, can you tell? It is not flat. My Peacock, I have not yet decided if I want to wash them away and do something different. Time for more experimentation. You probably noticed there was a peacock in here. The peacock is no longer there. I didn't like him. He wasn't bold enough and the stamps just weren't working for me. I'm gonna have to try again, perhaps on a different background. That is gorgeous. It needs to be sanded a little bit, otherwise it's super sharp. We have regular Mylar stencil with texture medium. So this one was the chalk paste. Mylar stencil with wax. Silkscreen stencil with acrylic paints. So we've got a lot of different mediums going on here. Just got to get a central character. Let's add more. Enough of my face in there. You don't need to see me. You need to see this. I bought this, I think, when I very first started furniture flipping. And it was just something in clearance in Michael's, I think. It's like a tough sponge. And this is for stenciling a wall. Never used it. But here's the deal. The video's due today, and I'm not finished with this project. So I'm going to do this, and we're going to film it, and we'll just see what happens. It's going to be what it is. I'm sure there's a good way to put this paint on here. I don't know what that is. I don't have time to figure it out. I'm just going to use a paintbrush and kind of paint the colors onto my stamp here. I'm rocking it just a little bit. It might make it sloppy, but whatever. Say a prayer and lift. All right, kind of cool. Definitely have room for two. And I'm having a similar issue to my peacock in that it's not very dark, but that's where I think these Posca pens, which are paint pens, will come in. And I'm going to outline this in the pen, and that will make it pop more and be a little bit more obvious. It's off kilter. Oh no, whatever. There we go. There's my two main stamps. When this is dry, I'll be able to come back and highlight around the edges. Of course, this isn't super maximally yet, so we're going to do a little bit of addition with some more wax. Et voila, a paisley. Yeah, it's subtle, but that's okay. Not everything has to be in your face. In my opinion, this is dry enough. I'm going to outline them now with my Posca pens. I just shake the paint down into the tip, and as long as that tip is not white, you know there's paint in it. I'm just going to outline in a contrasting color. And that's good enough. Definitely makes them pop more, gives them more definition. But right now, I'm pretty happy with it. Upon further drying, I have decided I want to fill it in just a little bit more to make it more obvious where things are. So I've grabbed some paintbrushes and those metallic paints that I use the stamp with, and I'm going to loosely paint it in just a little bit darker. I am not going to fuss about it maybe overlapping the lines a little bit. I just want to get a lot of color in there because I want to be able to see it. I might go back over it again with some of the marker because obviously I'm coloring over it a little bit. I'm mixing on the same brush on here because I want to make sure I can get some blend so it's not totally taken over by just the purple. This is kind of fun. It's like a little bit of a coloring book. They are far more bold now. I like that so much better. And that's it. That's a wrap, folks. I hustled this weekend to get this video out to you today, the 13th of April. And again, this was the Goodwill Hunting Thrift Flip Challenge hosted by Lifestyle of a DIYer and the Flippin' Bunch. So please look at the playlist that's going to be down below because I'm going to make sure Crystal at the Crafty Creature helps me to put those links down there. And yeah, please follow our channels, subscribe. It's always such a big help to us as our fledgling channels take off. And we really appreciate all of the support. So enjoy the projects and thanks for watching. Bye.